My mother didn't even look up from the Christmas turkey when she said it. You need to move out. No frustration, no buildup, just a cold sentence dropped between blinking tree lights and the steam rising off a meal I paid for. My aunt froze mid-bite. My sister stared at her plate as if it might save her. The room smelled like cinnamon and pine, but all I could taste was betrayal. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I just sat there realizing I'd been evicted from the home I was single-handedly keeping alive. Before I tell you the rest, tell me where you're listening from. Because when this is over, I want to know, what would you have done in my place? A year before that night, my life didn't look like this. I had my own little downtown apartment. Quiet mornings, plants on the windowsill, second-hand furniture I refinished myself. It smelled like fresh coffee and freedom. Every bill I paid with money from my IT job, and for once, everything felt steady. Then my mother called. Her voice was shaky, sentences breaking apart. The house I grew up in, the one with my father's handwriting still marked on the doorframe, was weeks away from being lost. Mortgage late. Utilities overdue. Savings gone. And she said she didn't know what to do. The thought of losing the last pieces of my father twisted something in my chest.
So I moved back.
She hugged me like I had saved her life.
She called me her lifeline.
I broke my lease and told myself it was temporary. But gratitude faded fast. Months passed, and suddenly everything was my responsibility. The mortgage, electricity, groceries, the internet upgrades she insisted on, the dinners she hosted where I did all the work. Whenever I gently asked about her finding a job, she sighed like I was stressing her out. My sister kept saying, "Be patient. Mom's overwhelmed." But I wasn't a daughter anymore. I was the engine running the entire house, and they expected me to keep running. The cracks deepened slowly. Her complaining about the internet I upgraded. Her asking me to unload the dishwasher after 10-hour shifts because her back hurt, even though her back worked fine on shopping days. By December, the house didn't feel like home. It felt like a trap tightening around me. Still, I hoped Christmas might soften things, that maybe family warmth would remind us who we were. I cooked the entire meal, set the table,
Bought gifts.
tried to make the night beautiful. And then the moment came. My mother didn't even lift her eyes as she carved the turkey. You need to move out. Just like that. I reminded her I paid the bills, the groceries, the house she lived in. She shrugged, the most casual dismissal I had ever seen. Something inside me went quiet. Not broken, just done. I excused myself, went to my old floral wallpaper bedroom, and sat on the bed waiting for tears that never came. All I felt was a clean, frightening emptiness.
So I packed.
Not memories, just essentials. I booked a week at a cheap motel and slipped out once the house went silent. In that tiny room, smelling of old carpet, I slept 10 hours straight. And when no one noticed I was gone, not day one, not day two, things became painfully clear. My absence wasn't a crisis. It was a convenience. Then the lies started. My sister texted me. You won't believe what Mom is telling everyone. According to my mother, I had caused a scene, screamed, broken things stormed out. Relatives rallied to her side without asking a single question. So I did the only thing left. I told the truth, publicly and calmly. A simple timeline of every bill I paid, every responsibility I took on, and how Christmas dinner ended in silence, not chaos. The next morning, my phone exploded. Relatives apologized. Cousins reached out. My aunt backtracked instantly. My sister admitted, Mom is freaking out. For the first time in a year, people saw me, not the villain she invented. My mother didn't call. Not until I moved into my new studio apartment, a tiny place filled with sunlight and possibility. On a gray afternoon, she knocked on my door holding a store-bought pie, like a peace offering. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. Gently but firmly, she asked, Aren't you going to invite me in? Instead, I asked, Did you come to apologize? Her smile flickered. She said she didn't think she needed to apologize, but I embarrassed her by telling the truth. And that was it. She wasn't sorry for what she'd done. She was sorry she got caught. This isn't about embarrassment, I told her. It's about how you expected me to carry everything, and how easily you threw me out when I stopped being useful. She stared at me like she was seeing a stranger, someone she could no longer control. You told me to leave, I said quietly. I just listened. I stepped back into my apartment. Take care of yourself. I closed the door. No drama. No anger. Just finality. She left the pie on the floor and walked away. Inside, sunlight filled my tiny home. And I realized this wasn't revenge. This was freedom. Life became quieter but fuller. I paid my own bills, made my own coffee, worked without being accused of using the internet too much. My sister began visiting me, slowly seeing the truth. One day she whispered, "She's turning on me now." I squeezed her hand. "When you're ready, I'll help you pack." And that's what I learned. Love without respect is dependency. Family without boundaries is a trap. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away quietly and let the truth speak louder than you ever could. If you've ever carried more than your share, you're not alone. Tell me where you're watching from and share your story in the comments. I read every single one.